Hey guys, so today I kind of just wanted to talk about kind of like my top 3 video games of the year. And the reason why I'm posting this now instead of like in December is because I am very slow when it comes to playing video games. Like, I'm very slow, and then I need time to like digest it and compare it to things. And so if I waited until like December to do it, I wouldn't post it until like the end of January, maybe even February. So, and I don't really know how many more game releases are happening this year, so it's kind of like I might as kind of well go with the 3 that I have right now because they're pretty solid in how much I like them. And I like them all because of different things, but there's one which I'm going to talk about last, which totally blows every other game, in my opinion, out of the water this year. So the first game I'm going to be talking about is Until Dawn. I believe it's a PS4 game. I personally did not play through this one. Well, I mean, I kind of did with like my dad. But I didn't play the whole thing, but I really enjoyed it. It follows these close friends. One year they're staying up at their friend's cabin basically, and then 2 of the sisters got killed by something unknown. They got killed. Well, I mean, something led them to getting killed. And then on the 1-year anniversary of their deaths, the brother Josh invites all of the friends back, kind of like as a commemorative type of thing to remember them. And so they all come back, and then weird stuff starts happening, and they're trying to figure out kind of like all the friends are trying to figure out like why all of this is happening, and just kind of like what's happening, who's doing this, who or what's doing it. And so it gets really intense, and this game does really well on playing the choices and the butterfly effect, because you kind of don't really notice the effects until much later on of your choices, which I really like. And there's like so many different endings you can get depending on how you do things, especially at like the very end of the game, so it's really interesting to kind of play through it and see. And I think it's also really intense, kind of, especially towards the end of the game, because this game makes use of kind of like making sure you keep the controller still and that you don't move the controller. And so it gets really intense, kind of like when you're trying not to like freak out, just trying to keep your hands super still, and so it gets really intense. And overall, like, story's kind of okay. Like, it's a good, interesting story. There's definitely some good plot twists throughout the game. I just think overall as a whole, it's an okay story. Like, the twists are really good. Story's okay, if that makes any sense. But I still think it really utilizes choices really well, and I think it's just a really fun game if you're able to play it, because it's also a next generation game, so the graphics are amazing. And so I think it's definitely something, if you are able to afford it and you do have the counsel to play it, I definitely think it's something you kind of need to experience, but there are some good playthroughs of it, which I will link down below in the description if you want to watch a playthrough of it. They're a little bit warning, there is some gore. There's actually blood and gore in all of these. So a little bit of a warning. And so my second game is called Life is Strange. And so it basically follows this girl named Max. She one day figures out that she can turn back time and change how she does things. And she knows that there's a huge storm coming in to destroy Arcadia Bay where she lives. And so she's trying to figure out kind of like what's going on, and it gets really crazy. Like, it's hard to explain things without spoiling anything, and this game also makes good use of the butterfly effect. And I think even better so than Until Dawn. And like the graphics are okay, and like the dialogue can be a bit silly at times, but I think overall it's pretty good if you can kind of get through like the dialogue. Like, I think it poses some like really interesting questions, especially in the last episode, because it does come in 5 different episodes, which you can get all of them now. And I think it's just really intriguing and really interesting, and I really do kind of like the storyline of the whole game, but like it's like the dialogue that's really kind of like not making the game a lot better, is just because the dialogue is so like adult trying to be cool, young, hip teenagers, and so it kind of gets a really like cringeworthy at times. But overall, I think the storyline is very interesting because it starts off slow, but it gets very, very interesting and very intense. And I will also link a playthrough down below in the description. And so the last game, which I think is my game of the year, and I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. It's an indie game called Undertale. And it's definitely one of those games where it's like, if you can afford to buy it, I would definitely recommend buying it and playing it yourself before you watch a playthrough. But it follows this kid who falls down into a cave and follows kind of like their adventures through there, because back in history there is a war between humans and monsters, and the monsters are all banished down to kind of like this cave which the kid falls into. And so you're following the kid, you know, and there's just something about it that's just makes you so tied to every character and makes you so emotional. Like, I literally bawled my eyes out at the ending. I was bawling because it was both tears of happiness and tears of sadness. I was just bawling my eyes out. Like, I could not stop. And it was the same thing with Life is Strange. Like, I was just bawling at the ending, but like, it was just so good. Like, it poses some great questions, you know, like, is it worth to do this thing, or is it more worth to do that thing, you know? And it kind of has a butterfly effect, but only there's like 2 different ways you can play the game, and depending on how you play the game affects the ending. And there's just something about it that's just has so much replayability and so much rewatchability too, you know. And I just love the game. Like, I cannot praise this game highly enough. Like, I was really hesitant about it at first. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it that much, but it stole my heart. Like, it is definitely one of my favorite video games ever, which is saying a lot because I'm a huge video game nerd. Oh my god, this game is amazing. Like, I will link a playthrough down in the description, and it is kind of like a pixel game, so it's not super scary. There is a little bit of gore, but there isn't really much, and it is so good. It is definitely worth watching if you can't play it, but if you can, please play it before you watch someone else play it. And just, I feel like this game came out of nowhere, but it is so good. Just, you know, quit listening to me rant and rave about it and go watch it or go buy it. Just, yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening to me kind of nerd out a little bit. But yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.